Hello boys and girls, today we are going to be making fantasy landscapes. And a landscape we already went over on Brain Pop. So think of the landforms that we learned about. Mountains, and hills, and I have a river, and suns, and clouds. So what you're going to do is you are going to have your sloppy copy or your sketch. And you're going to first be sketching this out on your piece of paper and pencil. So I'm going to think about those landforms that I drew, and I'm going to draw my sloppy copy, or my sketch. I'm going to turn my paper this way. You can have it this way, which is portrait or landscape style, but I'm going to do my landscape so I have more room. So I'm going to draw a hill, and then a line for my hill, and then I think I'm going to have a winding river coming out. There we go. And then I'm going to have some clouds, and the sun. And then I'm also going to break this up to be like little hills. Okay, so here's my sloppy copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my final copy now, and I'm going to redraw my sloppy copy or my sketch onto my final copy. But remember, you should take your time now more. It should be a lot nicer. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Now you guys are going to be using a bigger piece of paper than this. And I'll switch soon to show you the bigger piece of paper. So here's my sloppy copy. But what I'm going to help you guys do it on this year is you're going to do it on this big paper here. So you are going to use oil pastels to color this in. Oil pastels are like crayons, but they are a lot messier and they're waxy. So you might get it on your hands. We'll just have to clean up a little early to wash off your hands. And you can use any colors that you want. Now the word fantasy means not real. So if you look at my picture here, those mountains, would you really see purple and green and red and orange and blue mountains? No, you wouldn't. So that's fantasy, means not real. So we're coloring these in not real colors. So try to do it like crazy colors. Like here I have a blue sun and a green sky and a purple and white and blue water, and then I have pink and green clouds, and I'm going to color in my ground. Now I don't want to color in my hill in the background the same color as my sky or the ground below, because then it's going to look like all one thing. So what I'm doing is I'm outlining first so I know my space. So outline first, all the area that I'm coloring in, and now I'm going to color on the inside. If you find that your oil pastel is dirty, you can take a piece of paper towel and you can wipe off the green or whatever color was already on there. So now I'm going to color this all in one direction. Okay, now once again, I don't want to use the same color that I used here or here because they're touching. And I don't want it to look like one big landform. I want it to look like different ones. So here I'm going to use different colors. And remember, I'm not using realistic colors. I'm using fantasy colors, which means not real. Here I'm going to mix two colors together, so I'm coloring really lightly with my orange. It doesn't work if you're not coloring lightly to blend two colors together. Now I'm going to go over it with the peach. So I'm creating a different color, even though they're similar. You can see the difference between those two. And now I'm pressing harder too. If you notice, my oil pastels are leaving some little chunks on the paper or on the oil pastels. Don't worry about that right now, but you don't want to brush it off, because if I brush this off, it's going to smear on the paper. We don't want that to happen, so just don't worry about that until you're finished coloring for the day or your project. Okay, now I am finished coloring this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it up and tap it. And you see how all of these bits of oil pastel that were on there I can either blow off of or I can press off like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your paper to corral them like little ponies all together in one little pile. And then you're going to brush it off into your hand. And you're going to throw that into the garbage so you're not making a mess. Okay, then we have one final step before we finish drawing this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a black oil pastel and you're going to trace over all of your lines to make your landform stand out a lot more. Okay, there we go. I now have my fantasy landscape all done. It looks really nice with that black. If it gets too thick in some areas because your trace not exactly on the line, that's okay. So I'm going to take this off to the side. I'm going to get a sponge if it's not at the end of the class, and I'm going to wring it out, and then I'm going to clean up my spot, and then I'm going to do the last step, which is here, the reflection. So you're going to write your name. So I'm writing my name, Miss Miller, and I'm going to fill this out. I drew carefully. Meh, good, or really good. I think that I drew really good. I colored incompletely. Now it's hard to color incompletely with oil pastels, but you should have most of the green paper filled in, which I did, so I'm going to give myself a big smiley face. And I showed respect for others. Meh, good, or really good. And then I'm going to put these two together, and I'm going to put them in my grade me bin. I hope you enjoyed that, boys and girls.